Is Peterson. I'm an AI solutions engineer with IBM. Today I'll be giving you a short demonstration of the IBM Watson Assistant. Watson Assistant is IBM's virtual assistant technology for automating customer interactions for internal and external customer bases. So today's demonstration, we're going to walk through a live example of a customer who needs information from their bank and can get resolutions to their problems and questions using the assistant. How the technology works at a high level, we'll take a look here at the bottom of this flow. A customer is able to interact with the assistant through any channel that they so choose, whether it be by phone, web chat, email, mobile, etc. Now within the assistant or the resolution piece, there are multiple what we call skills that provide different answers to questions. The first skill are implicit programmed responses that the assistant might make. These usually take the form of FAQs or short tail questions using our dialogue skill. For longer tail questions or more complex questions, we can fall back to what we call a search skill, which leverages Watson Discovery, an AI-powered insights engine, to search content from within the company's repository and surface answers. And as always, we're not trying to automate humans completely out of the picture here. There's always the option to provide live agent feedback, live agent follow-up for those even more complex questions. So let's jump into the demonstration and we'll come back to some of the benefits here at the end. Now for this demonstration, I'll play the role of a customer of a fictional bank, the DTE Bank. And I was pleasantly surprised to see when I came to their homepage that they have a live assistant directly integrated to the web page so that I can get answers to questions even if I'm on say a crowded subway train. So my first question is just going to be a simple one. Let's say that I'm looking to make a payment online for an e-commerce product, and I need to know where my CVV is on my credit card. I ask, where is the CVV? And this is an example of a very short tail question, a simple FAQ. And the assistant here is able to respond with multimedia, in this case, an image of where I can find a CVV on my credit card, as well as a text response explaining. But that's sort of a simple example. Let's sort of take a more complex example, a series of questions that provide a little bit more insight into the capabilities here of Watson Assistant. So let's say that I'm traveling soon. I'm going to go to Rome overseas for a couple of weeks, and I've got a few things to take care of before I leave in terms of my banking. So I'll let the assistant know I'm traveling to Rome. And now this is an example of an FAQ that I have not given enough context to the system to. It isn't sure exactly what I mean when I say I'm traveling to Rome, but it knows that that intent looks similar to intents that the assistant has been trained on, including looking for travel tips or setting up a travel alert. This is an example of disambiguation. Watson is able to guess what you were intending and provide you a few examples of ways that it can help. I want to set up a travel alert. Now Watson is going to ask some follow-up questions similar to how we do human to human in natural language. If I were to tell you I was leaving, you might ask me a few more questions, fill out a form that you can submit for the bank. So it's asking me, when do I leave? I'll respond that I leave tomorrow and come back in 2 weeks. So I've supplied a little bit more information here than maybe Watson was expecting. The only question that Watson asked me was when I leave, but I assumed that the next question would be that, when do you return? So I supplied both pieces of information. Watson is able to capture both pieces of information and store that so that it doesn't need to ask me that follow-on question. It just takes both pieces of information and sets up my account for a travel alert. The next thing it does in terms of a travel alert is it's asking me if my mobile phone number is up to date. And this is a great example of how Watson can interact with other systems, be it a back-end application, database, CRM. We have integrations into all of those different types of systems, so you can really fine-tune your responses and give that personalized experience. So right now it's got my mobile phone number as this number, and I will update it. Now the next thing I'd like to do before I leave for my trip is pay some of my bills. So I'll ask Watson, I want to pay my bills before I leave. And now Watson, similarly here, is able to integrate with the back-end core banking system, understand what types of bills I have in my bill pay account, and shows me that I can pay a credit card payment, cable and internet, or gas and electric. I'll make the credit card payment. Here it's showing me that my total balance on my credit card is roughly $1,250. How much would I like to pay? I'll pay the total balance. And now it's giving me a warning that if I pay the total balance, I won't have the necessary funds to maintain the free checking eligibility. Do I want to proceed anyways? What I'm going to do here is actually move away from this flow. I'm not going to complete this right away. This is a tactic we call digressions. It's something that humans do very naturally in everyday life. We might talk about one topic, move on to another, and then come back to the previous topic, all within the same conversation. So, I'll move away from this flow and say, what is my checking account balance? And it's able to look up my information, pull my checking account balance, and then drop me right back into the flow where I was. So we can digress and come back to where we were without breaking where we were in the chain. I'm going to digress one more time and ask, what is the minimum funds required for free checking? And again, it's able to surface that information for me, tell me that I need to have at least $1,000 in my checking account, and then drops me right back into the flow. And in this case, I'll just make a $20 payment then. And right before we wrap up here, I'll ask, since I'm traveling overseas, will I be able to use my credit card? And what's happening here is we're falling back to that search skill that we talked about earlier. Now, Watson isn't going to be programmed to understand every single intent and provide a programmed response. In some cases, it makes sense to provide material that you have, say, on a website or in a content repository that contains answers to information. And here it's supplying 3 different articles that talk about using your credit card or using your cards overseas. And not only did it provide the full article, it provided just the 1 or 2 sentence answer. We call this a passage, in which it contained the explicit answer to my question. When you're traveling internationally, you can use your credit card to obtain local currency. Great. Now the last thing I want to do, I want to know if I can up my credit limit. Can I increase my credit limit? And here we're showing that we can always fall back to a live agent. So this will conclude this short demonstration of IBM Watson Assistant and how it can be used to answer customer information, customer questions around simple FAQs to searching back-end content repositories to moving to a live agent to handle anything else. In the last minute here, I'll just summarize some of the benefits that you get when using IBM Watson Assistant. The first is that you're able to centralize all of your customer communication and problem resolution. Again, you build this machine learning logic and response layer once and can apply it to any channel of your choice. You can get started fast, utilizing things such as your content repository, your current FAQ guides, and any existing log content that you have from a call center to get bootstrapped with your assistant. You can go live without needing a developer. The tooling for building these virtual assistants was made for the line of business, SME, and requires very little coding. And you can dynamically manage vague questions, letting Watson Assistant learn over time as you understand what your current customers will be asking the system. Thank you. I hope you have a great day. And again, if you have any questions about the assistant, about this technology, please don't hesitate to reach out.